So today we're going to be doing something a little different than I'm used to doing on my channel. This is normally a photography channel, but so what I found was this game called Wingspan. Now, this is the first time I've actually gotten back into board gaming, and that's what this is, a board game. But what really attracted me to this was the birds that are part of the game, and that is the focus of this game, birds. And it seems fitting since I spend a lot of time out in the field photographing birds. That's what kind of draw me to this. So this is going to be a quick review over the Wingspan game. I've already opened this, and I've organized some of the things that are in here. So this is not an unboxing or anything, but you'll see some of the things that I've done. But anyways, this is kind of a review of the game itself. But it's not playing. I'm not going to be showing you how to play it or anything like that. This is strictly showing you the things that come with the game and describing as best I can what the game's about. All right, so let's go ahead and let's open it up here. So first thing I want to mention is and this is probably true of a lot of board games. Again, I don't have any other board games. This is, I used to many years ago, but this is the first board game that I've actually purchased in a long time. And so, the quality of the box is pretty good. It's a very durable box. And so let's talk about what comes in the box. So first of all, there are, if you have a newer edition, which I doubt you're going to find in early printing, but for a while now, they've included these little cards, and these are for quick start. Quick start. This is not part of the, I guess you could say it's part of the game, but this is something that's used to help players get used to Wingspan. I believe that it starts off with specific cards and kind of holds your hand when it comes to how to play. There are also some cards that are part of that list. You could tell because they have this brown tag on it, and these cards go with this only. They're not used anywhere else. So when you open the box, you will have this is organized by how they recommend to store it. So this kind of goes over more details of what these little cards mean all in here, and these are just the general rules on how to actually play the game. Now it is from 1 to 5 players, and so in order to play the game as a single player, you use something called the Audubon or Autonoma. I don't know how you want to look at it. But these are rules that control kind of like an AI that you can you play along with, right? So these are the rules that it plays by. It does not get a board. You're the only one playing with a board. It does get cards. It does get eggs. This Audubon. It's really interesting. I've also found it's not the easiest thing to play. Very hard. There are these, even though there's different varying levels of difficulty, and it's only done. Difficulty is by points. So instead of counting 5 points per something like a card, you can only count 3 points. So the difficulty is just counting up the number of points, but it's very challenging. I like it. I've played several rounds, several games with this, so highly recommend it if you're playing alone, if you don't have anybody around. So again, these are the instructions that come along with it. Okay, the game itself. Let's start off with some of the obvious thing here. So the game comes with this You got to put it together, but it is this birdhouse. It's kind of nice. And in the birdhouse is in two pieces. You simply you you put it together like that. It just slides together, and this is used for the dice. You put the dice in the back here, and it rolls out. It's just, you don't really need it. It just kind of adds to the fun of the fact that it's birds, and you're using food comes out of a birdhouse, so kind of makes sense. But we'll set that aside here. Let's look at some of the other things. So let's start off with the dice. As I mentioned, when you're going to roll the dice, it's going to come out of the bird feeder, and the dice consists of these 5 pieces. And the dice has, fish on it, a mouse, fruit. I guess they call it fruit from a cherry tree. You have a combination of invertebrate or seeds. And this one could be either one. That's just a plain invertebrate, and this is just the plain seed. So those are the items that, when you roll it, that's how you determine what food is available in the bird feeder, and when you need to play a bird, if you want to take items out of the bird feeder, it's kind of makes it random, and if you don't have the food, you can't play the bird. The other thing that comes here is these are the goal tiles. Whenever you're playing the game, so let's look at the game here. Whenever you're playing the game, you have these goals or these rounds, right? There's 4 rounds in a game, and whenever you rank the players based upon these goals. So, for example, if I take one of these goals, and this is total number of birds. So, when I finish first round, the number of birds that I have in the field, I total it up. And whoever gets first place has the most number of birds on their board will get 4 points. So that's how that works with these goals. And it's just a random set of goals. Makes it kind of challenging, which I like, definitely. One thing I want to make it kind of obvious when I'm going over these cards. I've added, I put them in card sleeves. Now, some people will like that, some people will not. I like the artwork on these birds, these cards, and I just don't want them to get ruined. You can buy replacements, so that's not a big deal, but I don't want my set to get ruined. So I put those on. Makes it easier to shuffle as well. Okay, so we have, you've seen all this stuff. This is the player token. So whoever is, whose ever turn is going on, they're going to use this. Of course, if you're a single player, you're not going to be doing that. You get a set of food tokens and eggs. And I'll show you really quick on how that goes. In a little bit, I'm going to set up the boards. These are what they call, these are turn cubes. So you start off and, there's 4 rounds, and this shows you'll use one of these cubes to indicate how many turns I have per round. So when you start off, you have 8 of these things, and you have 8 little actions that you can perform per round, and then it goes down by 1. Then the next turn or the next round you have 7 turns, then the next round 6, and the final round 5. And so each successive round gets more difficult because you have fewer moves. So this is basically an action that you can take within a round. Okay, and then there's a score sheet. It does come with this nice case, and you have 100. I think it's 180 bird cards, and so really nice cards, and they all have important things to know, right? There's like where the bird. Well, you know what? Let's go over it. Makes it a little easier instead of looking at the cards right now. So let me set these down. The last piece that is in this is the actual player board. So actually good, strong cardboard. So when you play it, this is the board you play. And these represent the 4 rounds, as I mentioned earlier. And there are different habitats, right? So you have the forest, you have the grassland, and you have the water or the stream or whatever, the lake. And each habitat, birds gravitate to one or more habitats. Birds that are in the forest can get food. Birds that are in the grassland can lay eggs. Whenever you have a bird, or you play around here or play a turn in the water area, then you can draw an extra card, 1 or more cards, right? And if you notice, as I mentioned, the number of turns you have decreases, but and I'll show you how this works. You can get more cards as you go. Like in this case here, you could trade an egg for a card here, and over here you could trade any kind of food for an extra egg. And up here you can trade any card for another dice, which equates to food. So let's go ahead and I'm going to set it up and we'll continue on. So let me pause the video really quick and I'll get this set up. Okay, so here we have the board all set up. But before we start, I want to mention a couple things that I forgot to talk about. So we have, I mentioned that you have round goals. So each of the 4 rounds, there's a goal to try to achieve, right? Well, there's also individual goals that are used by the player for the entire game. So, for example, let me just pick one. It's easy. Food web expert. So, birds that eat only invertebrates. And so what the player's goal is, as they play the game, this is the final goal, right? So at the end of the game, there's a total number of points based upon, per bird, 2 points per bird that eat invertebrates only. Meaning they can't have invertebrates or fish or whatever, right? So it has to be only. So these are just goals that the player will have at the beginning, and they're randomly chosen. I think the same thing occurs for the automaton. I forget, but okay. So let's just look at really quick at the board again. I'm not going to go over all the intricacies of playing it, but I kind of want to start off with the concept, right? So as we mentioned earlier, you have this dice tower. This is terrible because they're all fish. It is amazing. But let's do something that's a little more interesting. Okay. So there we are. Okay, so the player starts with 5 cards. So there are 5 different birds and they're randomly chosen. They also start with 5 of each, total of 5 food tokens, 1 of each type of food, which is invertebrate, fish, seed, mouse, meat, I guess, and fruit, which is the cherries. Now, you can't have them all. So when you first start off the game, you have to decide. You can only keep 5 total. So right now there are 10. So, for example, if I want to keep all 5 cards, I have to get rid of 5 food. If I only want to keep 2 cards, then I have to get rid of 2 food. That way there's still a total of 5. 3 cards, I have to get rid of 3 food, so I have 2 food, 3 cards, 5. Okay, so that's how that starts. The player also gets these player tokens, or player turn tokens, and what they are, They're used to represent a turn. So as a player goes through it, remember there's 4 rounds, but each round has turns. And so when the game starts, you have a total of 8 of these dice. You have 8 turns per round. So how the game progresses is you decide, I want to play a bird. In order to play a bird, you have to realize, okay, this bird can be in the grassland. Let me see if I can get this here. The grassland or the forest. But the bird also requires an invertebrate and a seed. All right. So let's just say we decide to keep this card. We'll get rid of some others, and we have our invertebrate and seed. So we'll get rid of all these pieces of food. Again, we're gonna pretend we're playing, and we're gonna keep 3 cards. Get rid of 2, and these just kind of go into a pile of being used. And here's our 3 cards. So we have a card that we talked about just now. And if we want to play it, we have to decide. Do we want to play it in the forest? We want to play it in the grassland. And a lot of it is just, this is where strategy comes in. And I'm too new of a player to really tell you the best. But we're going to start with just putting it in the forest. So you put a card in the forest. And, you start with your little cube here saying that I'm going to play it in the forest. Then the other players go, and then you move it over here, indicating that I played a bird, because that's the tokens all the way at the top. And here's the bird. Now, if I decide not to play a bird, let's just say, for example, okay, so there goes my 2 tokens of food. I got to get rid of them. So now I don't have any food, right? So in order for me to get food, I have to take my next turn. So now I want to be able to, I need to get to food because I can't do anything. So I put a turn thing there, which allows me to grab a piece of food out of here, just 1 piece. And let me just get an invertebrate. Now, if you notice, it's maybe hard to see here. It says if I have a card, I can also turn it into food. So I have these 2 other birds that I haven't played, and I can say, okay, well, I'm going to get rid of this card, and I'm going to exchange that card for some food. So I'm going to grab a seed, right? So I take these out. I take these out. So they're out of play. And then that way the next player can't use these. And then I get my invertebrate and seed token, little food thing that I have. Okay, so now I've gone through 2 turns. Now, here's what's interesting. Here's what makes this game a lot of fun. When I play a turn in one of the habitats, in other words, I don't play a bird, I simply want to play here. I take this, and after I did my turn here, I can move this thing to the next one. I keep on moving it over as long as if there's a bird here. If there's no bird, it just goes to the end. So there's always, I play it here, it always goes to the end. So I'm here, I'm going to hit a bird. Now, the bird has this power. And the power, I got to read it upside down. It says, when activated, tuck 1 card from your hand behind this bird. If you do, gain 1 seed. Okay, so I put it there. I move my turn there. It's like, okay, so I tuck a card. Here's my last card. I can stick a card under here. Just, they call it putting it behind. And then I move it over here, indicating that I've finished my turn and I got a resource. And then the other player goes. Like if it's the automaton, they go otherwise. The importance of having tucked cards is at the end of the game, you count the number of tucked cards and each one's worth a point. Sometimes birds here are worth a point. Remember, our personal goal was birds that eat only invertebrates. Well, this bird does eat invertebrates, but it also requires seed, so it doesn't fit that. It has to only eat invertebrates. So let me see if I can find an example. I think I got rid of one that was like that. Nope. But there are bird cards that their food is only an invertebrate. So that's just an example. And of course, you continue going. You either decide whether I want to take a turn and play it here to get a resource, and you always go to the next spot after where the bird is. So there's no bird here. So if I want to play something, I would put a token there, and that would give me 2 eggs if I have, and then that's the end of my turn. If I were here, because there's a card there, then I continue to play. So you can see, if I had a bunch of birds here in the forest and I play something, I would take my turn and I would get my food, and then my turn would go and progress here and activate every single power the bird has. I think they call it an engine. And some of these you get to tuck cards. Some of these you get food back. Like in this case, if I tuck a card, then I get another food token. So I'm automatically generating food, and I don't have to roll the dice for it. So, that's how that goes. And the bottom line is you continue doing this. You either draw a card if I want to put a token here, put a token here. That means I'm going to draw a card. If I put a token here, I get 2 eggs. Something interesting about eggs. When you get eggs, you don't just keep them. You have to put them on a bird. So, for example, if I got 2 eggs, they could go on this bird. This bird only holds 2 eggs, so I can't put any more eggs. But if I get more eggs, this bird can hold 3. This bird can hold 3. So if I were to get eggs, I could get up to 6 more eggs. Significance of eggs. Eggs are important when you're playing the game because, like in some cases...
So I actually got this part of the video wrong. I said that it requires 2 eggs to get 2 food. What I really meant to say is it takes 2 eggs to play a bird card. If I put a token and just want food, it doesn't require the 2 eggs. So I apologize for that little mistake.
So eggs come into play that way, where it's kind of like a payment. Another thing eggs come in is, of course, at the end of the game, you count up the number of eggs that you have, and that's also points. So, again, you have all of these points that you can get from playing, doing this, whether I get food or whether I get cards. And then the end, the goal here is checked, and I get extra points. So, like if I had the most number of birds in the grassland, which I have 0, I would come in last place. If let's see, 7 points. Again, that's at the end of the game, and all the points are added up, and whoever has the most points win. It's really pretty simple on the surface, right? But very strategic, right? When you play birds, where are you going to put them? Are you going to get a new card? Are you going to play something? So there's a lot of options. It gives you a lot of strategy in this game. And once you just to let you know, when you do a round, you put your little token here indicating which place you came in: 0 place, last, or first, second, third. That's why there's only now 7 tokens. So the next one, you only have 7 rounds. And then I put my little token here. Now I have 6. And now I have 5. And 5 is the very last turn. I don't go where there's 4. I just go where there's 5. So 5 turns. And I could do whatever in the 5 turns. Hopefully, I would have birds in the right places. I'd do a turn, I'd get a lot of actions. So those are the kind of strategies you want to put in play. That's how the game works. It's a lot more fun, even if you're playing by yourself with the Autonoma. It's a lot of fun. The cards that are up here are just used to represent, like if I need to draw a card, I would choose one from here, or because I know what they are, or I could go to the my cache of cards over here and pick one off the top. I wouldn't know what it is, but when I look at it, okay, it's a downy woodpecker. That's what I got, and that's it. I can't choose anymore. This is the card that I get. So it could be good, could be bad, right? So then you decide. Whenever, if you take one of these, then it's got to be replenished with one from the cache of cards. So you have all of these, a lot of food tokens in a bag here, right? Each player gets a set of these. And you have a bunch of eggs that you could use. So the game comes with everything that you need to play this. So it's a great game. It's a lot of fun. It's different every time. Strategies are really cool. And as of right now, there are 3 expansions. You have a European expansion, Oceania expansion, and then there's a recently released Asia expansion. When I say recent, I think it's like within a year or two, because the original game came out like 5 or 6 years ago, 2019, which is 6 years, because this is 2025. Yeah, so that's the game. A lot of fun. Why I like it as a wildlife photographer, of course, is I just love. I love the birds. I love collecting birds. I love to be able to, you can learn things from the birds, right? So you know what the bird is, where it is located in the world, and it has a little blurb about, what it is. So this bird feeds not only on oysters and shellfish, but also invertebrates. That's just kind of a little blurb on the bird. So it's kind of nice. The artwork's great, and overall a fantastic game, especially if you're a bird lover, a nature lover. It's just right there. I have ordered some of the expansions, and I also ordered the nesting box, which allows me to put all of this stuff in one big box instead of keeping all the expansions and everything in their own separate box. But if you like it, grab it. It's good. You can find it online. You can go to Stonemeyer Games, pick it up. I've picked up this copy over at Barnes & Noble. Like supporting local. I like Barnes & Noble because it's just like one of the last bookstores. But yeah, please enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. Again, this is kind of an unusual video. I am normally displaying photography, birds, animals, right? Just kind of wildlife, and using my camera to do so. This, and I think maybe one more I'm going to have about Wingspan, just as a game, wildlife, and how I find this fantastic. So, all right. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in another video. Bye-bye.